Was Mentuhotep a Nubian? Despite the fact that he's one of the earliest kings of ancient Egypt, it's pretty obvious that his physical appearance reflects those of Nubians. But this is not enough. His name is also kind of strange, but you will notice that he has the most accusations of being a Nubian, especially given the fact that most of his wives were Nubian as well. Let us first address his name. First of all, his name comes from a falcon god named Montu, who is depicted as a falcon. Secondly, this falcon seems to have been, this name Montu seems to have meant nomadic or traveler or some word like that, not someone who's stationed in one area. And this might be an indicator to Mentuhotep's position as a human in ancient times. And as you will see, I will show you further evidence of this. As you can see, the name is generally would be written Montu, and there's different ways that they think it was pronounced. Maybe Montu, Montu, Monju, Ment, or Mentu. If you know anything about African culture, you know that this word looks like the common word for a Bantu person who occupy this entire region where there's alphabet A to S, and they claim the reason why their name is Bantu is because they all remember an ancestor called Ndu, and the word Ba means belonging to, so that's just a prefix, and it might just be a coincidence that this name is similar to the other. Back to Mentuhotep. So when we looked at Mentuhotep, we realized that his name comes from the word nomad. Well, this is one of his wives. This is one of his wives, Ashayet, and she is accompanied by two Medjay women, in which I'm pointing at right now. But here's the thing, you notice that she's the slightly lighter shade than the two Medjay women. She is also thought to have been a Nubian elite woman living in Egypt. But let us look up this word Medjay. As you can see, the word Medjay was a, let's just read it, was a demonym used in various ways throughout ancient Egypt history to refer initially to a nomadic group from Nubia, and later as a general term for a desert ranger. So keep that in mind. This woman is accompanied by two Medjay who are nomadic, and the word Mentu, in which Mentuhotep was named, also means nomadic. So that draws a nice line right there. The wife of Mentuhotep was a nomadic Medjay from Nubia, and Mentuhotep was also a nomadic Medjay from Nubia. The connection is simple enough, but we don't even need this connection because there's further evidence. For example, the other wives of Mentuhotep, like Kemsit, who is easier to identify as a Nubian based on how they used to depict Nubians, and the fact that her name is weird and she is also seems to have been a Medjay. But she is then seen in a line of other queens. The rest of the four are Mentuhotep's wives, other wives, as you can see in this depiction, and they all seem to be Nubian high priestesses. But wait, there's more. Mentuhotep is not a foreign ruler. He's actually a native ruler of Egypt, and his father's name is Intef. The interesting part is Egypt was divided into two kingdoms during Intef's rule, and his successor, Mentuhotep, united them together. This giving us a bigger clue that Egypt was not as one back then, and of course, with the Medjay and the Mentus around, this might be the reason why you find such stark differences between the way they portray themselves and the other people, even though they still seem very similar. Intef III's father was Intef II, and you will see when I switch right now that Intef I is the guy who started it, and Intef II took over that, but his father was actually Mentuhotep, not Intef. So you can see that they have a deep line of ancient Egyptian lineage, and so this was probably not to other them, but to properly place them in their correct placement as people. And so these Nubians would have just been Egyptians like everybody else. So therefore, do not consider them foreigners. They are Egyptians. Lending further proof that the ancient Egyptians were not different than black Africans, but were instead a offshoot of these people, and probably expanded far beyond the rest of Africa and the rest of the world because of their trade routes and how close they were to so many countries that had also developed at the same time.